Hey, you're not saying much. How's your day? This is the best day I've ever had in my life. That's amazing. Wow, too late. It's just a wonderful day, Amanda. So imagine you're stuck working your dead-end job in a convenience store while the undead are trying to break down the door. Hey people, voice talking to you, and today we're checking out Service with a Shotgun, a hilarious visual novel meets wave shooter where survival and customer service go hand in hand. If you want to try this game out for yourself or see my full playthrough stream, there are links to both down in the description. We play as Jones, or at least that's what the other characters start calling us. It's weird, don't ask too many questions. The economy hasn't been the best since the zombie apocalypse, so we just started a new job at a bizarre convenience store called Undead Depot. As head cashier, your foremost responsibility will be the customers, but there's also zombies constantly trying to get into the store, so yeah, we're gonna need you to deal with that too. Since you're still fresh meat, I'll break down each step for you. Step 1, talk to the customers. Every day, customers will come into the store looking for supplies, shelter, or just someone to bother. And it'll be your job to listen to their individual stories and get them whatever it is they're looking for. And you'd better be paying attention because, well, with the way that money is, most of your pay is going to come from the tips given by customers when you answer their questions correctly. Step 2, keep zombies off the premises. Since there's corpses shambling around trying to eat potential customers, we'll need you to stick your head out that door every now and again and then shoot any walkers that get too close. Now, if you could kindly point me the direction that she... One sec. Thanks, Russ. Sorry, what were you saying? That is, of course, between your conversations with guests, because customer service is still king, after all. You'll be generously provided with a standard pistol and 10 rounds of ammunition for each day. As an added incentive, each zombie put down will earn you a little bonus, with extra cash being awarded for clean headshots. Don't worry if you burn through all your bullets, which you will. You can always buy more ammo, health packs, and simple barricades from our associate Russ out back. You'll have to pay for all of that out of pocket, of course. Step 3, prepare for the next day. Once all the customers have left for the day, you'll receive your paycheck and can access the shop building section of the computer system. Here you can spend your hard-earned cash on a variety of defensive options to make your job easier. There's expendable traps like landmines or glue, protective barricades, barbed wire and electrified floors, even catapults and automated turrets. Learning to use each of the defenses can be a little frustrating because there isn't any clear indication of its range or firing area. The catapult's animation shows it covering the whole length of the alley, but in actuality it only gets like half. Plus, with things like landmines, I couldn't tell you if they set off other mines nearby or if they destroy adjacent defenses when triggered. From a gameplay perspective, this is a really unique mix of genres that I honestly never expected. The art style here is a mix of goofy comic characters and pixelated 3D models that make enemies about as scary as they can be, considering the absurd reality we find ourselves in. Much like any good wave shooter, the game will evolve as we go, increasing the intensity and volume of enemies and introducing new threats like the mutated muscle zombies that somebody strapped explosives to.
But to be honest with you, I tied a large number of grenades onto zombies.
Why are you doing that exactly?
Science!
Darting back and forth between visual novel storytelling and boomer-styled FPS is quite the juggling act at first, but once you get going, it becomes this oddly satisfying loop of blasting zombies and listening to bizarre but hilarious dialogue. I do say listening, but only the zombies are voiced, so hopefully you're a fast reader. Either way, you can adjust the difficulty of enemy waves at any time if you want a more intense or a more relaxed experience. But the best part of this game, by far, is the story. As one viewer said, it goes from 0 to 100 to 250 in no time flat. I will mention that it doesn't seem to be a choose-your-own-adventure kind of game. Choosing the incorrect dialogue option only seems to deny us resources, so I wouldn't go into this expecting branching storylines or multiple endings. Each story isn't a one-off joke either. The characters build off each other's narratives until it becomes this overlapping story of utter chaos. One minute you're serving this girl her latte, and then some doctor brings a talking zombie into the store, and then you meet a guy named Killmonger who says he doesn't feel like pillaging anymore. And you know, from there, you're fighting for your life inside a mutant anthill with several mad scientists and potentially a cannibal. So that's cool. Yes, the game does take us outside the convenience store. This demo shows us the game's first 2 chapters, and at the end of the first, all of our defenses we've been building up are left behind. The second chapter gives us 2 lanes to defend and a new enemy to manage, but it also lacked the tower defense mechanics of the first chapter and felt a lot less involved because of it. I'm guessing the dev intends to have each chapter function with different mechanics like this, but I worry they may run out of slack there. I certainly don't mind the change of scenery, but something like progressive upgrades or new weapons are going to be necessary to keep things fresh. Depending on how the dev wants to run things, I could see 3 good ways around the issue of player engagement. One would be to return to the tower defense options in greater difficulty and detail in later chapters, including new threats and more traps. Another would be to double down on the story and add branching paths that offer returning players something new to see. Thirdly, and I'd recommend doing this regardless, would be adding another layer to the cashier side of things. Maybe a small minigame to microwave something without burning it, while still keeping the zombies at bay instead of just dragging and dropping items. Now, the dev did comment on my stream and told me not to go easy on them, so this is for you. The dialogue frequently uses meta elements like the changing of the player's name and intentional typos, but those jokes land weird when you read them out loud, and things just get confusing when the speaker's name often changes at incorrect times. Also, you're going to give players extra money for getting headshots, but you don't have a different impact animation for it, and they still deal the same amount of damage? Tisk tisk. Now, if I could have whatever I wanted, this title would have a branching narrative, more in-depth combat, more varied enemies, and maybe even roguelite-style defenses, with, maybe decorations for our shop, so we're encouraged to earn extra money. But that aside, I'm already super in love with the concept of this game. It was actually pretty tough to think of anything negative about the game, which is really rare for me. But you know what would really sell it? How about a shotgun, maybe? This isn't service with a handgun. It's not easy to endear a player to a character they never see, but our boy Jones develops quite the personality as the story goes on, and all the zombie shooting isn't just to keep you busy. The other characters repeatedly mention how good of a fighter you've proven to be, which makes me want to know more about Jones and how it is he learned to shoot. Plus, he seems to know nothing about the larger world, and also seems to have had a much different upbringing than everyone we meet. Our own character is actually the one I'm most interested in here.
I only fear 2 things. Being run over by a giant ant, driving an ant car is 1. Do I want to know the other? Van Gogh. Why? He ripped off his ear, Russ!
Unreliable narrator plus a dark but absurd world makes the whole thing feel like playing through a hilarious creepypasta podcast. The characters are weirdly endearing, and the world building is strangely gripping. I don't usually like visual novels for the fact that they involve very little gameplay, but this one I found myself engrossed in the dialogue while still enjoying my zombie-slaying side gig. Problem well solved. There's also tons of subtle tone shifts and clever hints here and there that I doubt the dev is putting in just for show. So this rabbit hole probably goes a lot deeper than it seems. Sure, there are some places where the game doesn't especially shine. The bold switches between 2D and 3D models is eye-catching and unexpected, but it doesn't look the best, and the dialogue during the 3D encounters moves way too fast. That said, this is all an incredibly refreshing and really unique piece of work. The impressive artwork, lovable characters, and wacky story have me hooked, so I'm personally going to be following this one as it develops. If you like Borderlands humor, or if you're a fan of games like Valhalla or Coffee Talk, I think you're gonna love this one. Anyway, I'm just the voice in your head, so how are you feeling about Service with a Shotgun? Do you like the current balance of gameplay and story, or does it feel a bit too shallow? What other games does this remind you of? What changes would you like to see in the finished version? Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this video, leaving a like or a comment helps me out a ton, and it might stop Murder Guy from stabbing people.
Yep, there he goes. Stop killing people!
If you want more, subscribing is the best way to support what I do and keep new content coming your way, because I put out new stuff every week. Thanks so much for listening to me today. You'll be hearing from me again real soon.